You know what I love about GTA Online? It's the sheer amount of vehicle variety. Next to dedicated war simulation as well as racing games, GTA Online might actually have the largest collection of vehicles in any game right now. I looked up the GTA wiki and it tells me that the game has over 800 vehicles, and GTA Base puts this number at 768, which is slightly less, but it's still a truly massive amount. Of course, this collection includes everything from cars and boats to helicopters and fighter jets, so it got me thinking, of the nearly 800 vehicles in GTA Online, which ones are actually worth buying? Because let's be real here, almost nobody is interested in the boats, and several of the aircraft have zero practical use outside of very niche cases. Some are even totally useless, like the blimp as well as the Nagasaki Ultralight. So to narrow things down for prospective buyers here, I decided to create a list of 10 vehicles in GTA Online that I think every player must own. These include land, sea, and air vehicles, but more importantly, all of these vehicles have a well-defined purpose in the game, which is to say they either help you make money or they keep you safe while you're going from point A to point B. The first vehicle on my list here today is the weaponized ignis from Pegassi, and this is an exclusive version of the ignis with a roof-mounted turret that replaces the rear window. Right now, the only way to get this vehicle is by owning the expanded and enhanced version of GTA 5, which is available for the PlayStation 5 as well as Xbox Series X and S consoles, and so if you're on PC or last-gen consoles, there's unfortunately no way for you to get this car. But Rockstar is bringing HSW and expanded and enhanced content to PC in 2025, so maybe by the time you're watching this, it's already in the game. But either way, in terms of performance, the weaponized ignis can be quite a handful if you throw in the optional HSW upgrades for an extra $500,000. By default, this weaponized car can hit a respectable 124.7 miles per hour, but once you add the HSW performance package, its top speed goes all the way up to 146.2 miles an hour, making it one of the fastest cars in the entire game. But of course, it's still nowhere close to speed demons like the Grati Italy GTO Stinger TT or the Bravado Banshee GTS. However, neither of those cars come with a triple barrel autocannon mounted to the roof, and that's not even the best part. Thanks to the missile lock-on jammer that comes pre-installed, you don't have to worry about homing missiles or rockets from the other players. In PvE missions, the bullet-resistant windows of the weaponized ignis can tank up to 15 rounds before breaking, giving you ample time to plan your escape. Next up is one of my personal favorites for a lot of different reasons. It's the Bravado Gauntlet Interceptor, which at $5.4 million also happens to be one of the most expensive cars on this list. If you're a fan of American muscle, especially police muscle cars, this version of the Bravado Gauntlet is a must-have, as it's based on the real-life Dodge Challenger SRT Demon, and the base model for the Interceptor is the regular Gauntlet Hellfire, which costs just $745,000, which is also a really good car. However, I am going to recommend the more expensive police version for just one simple reason. It has an actual function other than just looking cool and going fast in a straight line. See, if you buy the police version of the Hellfire, you gain access to the police dispatch work or quote-unquote vigilante missions from Vincent Effenberger, and there are 6 of these police missions and they pay out $25,000 each, and they have a 5-minute cooldown in between them. While the per mission payout isn't spectacular, the missions take very little time and the cooldown is relatively small enough, so you could easily make upwards of 100k an hour if you don't mind doing the same missions over and over, and considering there's just 6 of them, it's pretty fun, good enough variety, and these are nice little things to do in the meantime while you have a few spare minutes to make some money. Alternatively, if you aren't interested in police work, you could also buy the Bravado Hot Ring Hellfire, which looks similar, but it costs significantly less at just $1.8 million. But since this is a track-focused car, you do get improved braking and handling on corners, which can cut lap times by a few seconds, but honestly, I wouldn't really be buying a muscle car to run laps around a circuit. But either way, the Hot Ring Hellfire if you want like the worst of the 3, Bravado Gauntlet Hellfire for just the normal civilian car, or of course the Bravado Gauntlet Interceptor, which is just a great police car right there. Next up, number 3 on my list is the Avenger, and this one is a tilt rotor airplane based on the real-life V-22 Osprey that's used in the United States Marine Corps, and in GTA Online, the Avenger is classified as an armored weaponized plane, which means it's just as good at soaking up damage as it is at dishing out damage. And the Avenger is entirely impervious to bullets from all sides. It can tank up to 23 oppressor missiles or homing launcher rounds before it goes down, and some people have claimed that the armor can be a little bit buggy with its hitboxes, which causes the Avenger to reach its limit after just 4 or 5 missile shots, but that still shouldn't stop you from buying this aircraft, unless you're discouraged by that $3.4 million price tag, which in my opinion is more than fair for the amount of utility that this flying flying tank offers. Not only is the Avenger extremely resilient against explosive weaponry, but it can unleash a barrage of hellfire on anyone unfortunate enough to get in its way, and you can upgrade this aircraft with up to 3 autocannon turrets, and you can even equip it to drop cluster bombs on your enemies. If you feel like the armor isn't sufficient, you can install a missile lock-on jammer and a stealth module to make yourself practically invincible against all but the most committed of griefers. And it even has options and optional upgrades for the LSA operations terminal, allowing you to do a 5-mission quest line, as well as 3 other LSA operation missions which pay out a pretty good amount of money, and so you can use this vehicle to actually make money in the game as well. But as nice as the Avenger is, sometimes you just want a normal car, one that's perfect for grinding PvE content due to its immunity against bullets and affordable price tag. And of course, I'm talking about the venerable armored kuruma, which has been a mainstay of GTA Online since the day it was introduced to the game as part of the 2015 Heist DLC. So what makes the kuruma so special? Well, first off, its design is a weird hybrid of a Mitsubishi Lancer as well as a Subaru WRX STI, giving it a really unique visual silhouette that's immediately recognizable from any angle. But more importantly, this car is entirely impervious to bullets from every angle. You get full 360-degree coverage because the roof, windshield, rear windows, and side windows are basically all protected with bulletproof glass and armor, and there's really no offensive capability with this car, so you will have to dish out the damage yourself using, an SMG while you're driving the vehicle, tactical SMG, AP pistol, whatever, but that's fine because the kuruma is a mainstay getaway and heist setup car, and because of its resistance against bullets and semi-decent top speed of 109 miles an hour, it weighs 3.2 tons, so don't even think about getting into a fight with people who have sports cars equipped with homing missile launchers. The kuruma just isn't designed to tank explosives, and it can't outrun sports cars, making it a vehicle that's primarily geared toward PvE content, but that's fine because it's also one of the most affordable armored cars at just under $700,000. But let's say you can't afford to spend that kind of money because you're brand new to the game. Well, I've got really good news here. The Duke of Death is an armored muscle car that offers many of the same benefits as the kuruma while also being slightly faster in a straight line, and you can get it for free from the Warstock Cash and Carry website. The only downside of this vehicle compared to the armored kuruma is that occasionally a bullet or two might sneak in from the rear. However, I think it's overall a better vehicle if you're dealing with human enemies. While the kuruma can be blown up with a single RPG shot, the Duke of Death can actually tank up to 3 RPGs and 7 explosive sniper rounds. So if you're playing free roam sessions or doing PvE content, the Duke of Death is actually a better choice in my opinion, and the best part is it's free, so you don't have to spend any money on it. Now, armored cars are cool and all, but if you want to go one step further in terms of armored protection, nothing beats the Benefactor Terabyte, which is essentially a military HQ on wheels. With a price tag of $1,375,000, this is a fairly affordable vehicle for the amount of functionality that it offers, and now with the latest update, if you own the Darnell Bros Garment Factory, you can actually further customize your Terabyte by installing a missile lock-on jammer, which makes the already impervious tank even harder to kill. And with this jammer, not only do your enemies have to land 34 rockets on your Terabyte while it's zooming around at 80 miles an hour, they also have to do it without the benefit of automatic homing missiles. And that's not even the best part, because you can turn this thing into a discount version of the arcade by installing a master control terminal inside of this vehicle for $500,000. And with the master control terminal, you can manage all your MC business resupplies, vehicle storage, and warehouses all from inside your Terabyte. And the list of features doesn't stop here. The 10-ton behemoth can also be upgraded with a $495,000 special vehicle workshop, which turns it into a mobile garage for your Oppressor Mark II. And if you want to access Mark II weapons anywhere at any time, you can also install your weapons workshop in the back of your Terabyte for an additional $245,000. There's also a multiple launch rocket system in the back, which can simultaneously target several enemies with homing missiles, and as well as a drone command center that lets you survey the battlefield in complete safety while sitting inside your heavily armored Terabyte. The drone upgrade is quite expensive at $815,000, but it's also the only way to unlock 2 of the 6 client jobs that you can get from Paige Harris, so you might want to take that into consideration if you're a fan of the Terabyte client jobs. And as a final note, some of you might find that you're not able to buy the Terabyte, and this is probably because you don't have a nightclub. Owning a nightclub is a prerequisite for purchasing the Terabyte, so if you don't have one, you will need to get the nightclub ASAP because it's easily one of the best passive income sources in the game when it comes to businesses. Next up is the Brickade 6x6, which is another massive 6-wheeler just like the Terabyte. The two look kind of similar, and they're even priced around the $1.4 million range, with the Brickade being slightly more expensive. It also has slightly better acceleration, braking, and handling, but that's not why you're purchasing this 14-ton monster. No, you're getting it because you want to run the acid lab and make tons of money in the game. And you know what? You actually don't even have to spend a single dollar, because the game will literally pay you to get a free Brickade 6x6. That's right, if you're a new player and you're thinking about buying a Brickade from the Warstock Cash and Carry website, stop right now. Go do the first dose missions by meeting up with Dax, and after mission number 6, you'll be able to steal one and keep it forever. Not only that, but unless you do the first dose missions, you actually won't even be able to install the acid lab in the back of your Brickade, which is the only reason anyone even gets this vehicle. It's also deceptively tanky despite being a civilian vehicle because it can actually tank up to 48 rockets, homing missiles, and sticky bombs before it blows up. That makes it even tougher than the Terabyte on a base level. However, the downside of all of this armor is that the Brickade has zero combat utility outside of being a damage sponge. You can't equip it with a missile turret or a lock-on jammer like you can with the Terabyte, and so the best you can do is just keep driving around and hope that the other guy runs out of missiles before he blows you up, which honestly, with the health that this Brickade has, he probably will. And while we're on the topic of things that you can get for free, let's not forget the Ocelot Virtue, which is one of the best supercars in the entire game. It's based on the real-life Lotus Avenger, and it's completely electric with a top speed of just over 119 miles an hour. While that isn't outstanding compared to some of the other supercars in this game focused on speed, especially all of the HSW models, the thing that makes the Avenger so awesome is its acceleration, which comes by virtue of having that instantaneous electric torque from 0 RPM. Plus, it's got all-wheel drive, which helps it grip the tarmac right off the line and take corners at blazingly fast speeds. And you can get this beauty for free just by doing all of the first dose as well as completing the last dose missions. In terms of value, these missions are unrivaled because not only do they give you a free Brickade, but they also give you that free Ocelot Virtue at the end of the quest line, and one of the best updates that Rockstar has ever released for this game in my opinion. And that's because you just basically save a bunch of money by not buying these vehicles. You can choose to spend that money that you're saving on some other vehicles with Amani Tech upgrades from your agency workshop, for example. The Virtue is already fast, but it becomes nearly untouchable once you install a missile lock-on jammer and additional armor plating, and that's what makes this vehicle even better than it just being a normal supercar. Now, another really fast car worth considering is the Pegassi Toreador, which is ripped straight out of classic James Bond movies, and it's an amphibious vehicle, meaning it can travel both on land and underwater once you switch to submarine mode. And with the rocket boost feature, you can get a sudden burst of acceleration to pull yourself out of sticky situations. Not like you're going to need the boost all that often, considering this car has a top speed in excess of 135 miles per hour, but it is nice to have nevertheless. The Toreador isn't a heavy armored vehicle, but it can still tank up to 6 homing missiles or 2 RPGs. It's also completely bulletproof from the rear because there are no rear windows, and it can be equipped with dual forward-facing machine guns. There are also 4 missile launchers for surface combat and 2 torpedo launchers for some underwater explosive action. The only problem with this is you cannot use it in missions anymore, so if you want to use something like that, I would recommend the Vigilante or the armored Tampa, or the weaponized Tampa, excuse me, some vehicle like that. But the Toreador for free mode is a must own. Now, the flying version of the Toreador would probably be the Mammoth F-160 Raiju, which is basically a P996 laser, but better in every single way. It's based on the real-life F-35 Lightning, and it can take off and land without a runway, making it the perfect vehicle for quick hit-and-run jobs where you want to maintain a low profile. And since this is a 5th-gen fighter, it obviously comes with that stealth mode that keeps you hidden from enemy radars. At $6.8 million, it's definitely very expensive, but if you do the on-parade mission, you can actually unlock the trade price, which is $5.1 million. And that's why I would recommend you get the Avenger with the LSA operations terminal so that you could do the on-parade mission plus the other ones required. And now it's finally time for item number 10 on my list of must-haves, and this is one that I rank the highest. But first, let's go through some honorable mentions. Of course, we've got the legendary Oppressor Mark II, which is a flying broomstick that makes you feel like evil Harry Potter as you torture people from above with an endless barrage of homing missiles. Then there's also the highly underrated Chernobog, which is basically a SAM launcher that's simply unrivaled when it comes to defending an area from flying pests, like the ones who troll people with their Oppressor Mark IIs and Raijus, but it's more niche. And then of course, we can't forget, like I was talking about, that classy weaponized Tampa, which is still one of my favorite cars in GTA Online. It's basically a rolling bunker with the sheer amount of weaponry it packs. The only downside is it doesn't have any defensive capabilities, and it blows up, I think, from 1 or 2 rockets. All right. Are you ready for the #1 must-have vehicle in GTA Online? Because, of course, it is none other than the Kosatka submarine. I know, not exactly a groundbreaking pick, and many of you probably saw it coming a mile away when you clicked on this video. However, I mentioned it at the start of this video that I would only pick vehicles with a well-defined purpose. No redundant vehicles, no super overpriced vehicles when it comes to value, or vehicles intended primarily for showing off. And that's why the Kosatka is #1, because not only is this submarine the key to unlocking Cayo Perico, but it can also be customized with cruise missiles and a spare Sparrow helicopter for some amazing offensive capabilities. Plus, you can treat it like a mobile HQ and fast travel to any coastal location on the map by spending just $2,000. The Cayo Perico heist is still the best money grinding method in the game after all the nerfs and the updates, and you can still make over $1 million in less than 1 hour going through the heist. So with just 2 heists, you can easily recover the cost that you spent on the submarine, meaning not only is the Kosatka an excellent vehicle, but ironically, it's also the most lucrative business in the entire game. And that brings us to the end of the list. What do you guys think of my picks here? Are there any vehicles you'd like to personally add? I did touch on a few more, like the weaponized Tampa, the Oppressor Mark II, and the Sparrow in my honorable mentions, but I feel like some of these vehicles actually deserved a better spot on the list because those are probably the most popular and most sought after, and basically everyone knows about them. But let me know which vehicles and why in the comments down below that you would want to see and why you think they're the best. If you liked the video, don't forget to drop a like on it and subscribe for more GTA Online content like this in the future. Also, make sure to check me out over on twitch.tv/hazardoushdtv if you want to see consistent daily GTA 5 Online live streams. And again, thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios, amigos.